What's the difference between middle grade and YA, and should I just age my characters down? My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. This is more complicated than it sounds. It is rarely the case that you're going to be able to just age the characters down or just age the characters up in order to jump categories. Category is determined by story arc, it is determined by voice, it is determined by situation, and content comes to play a role in it a little bit, particularly more in middle grade than in young adult. So if you have written a story that was for the young adult audience and your characters are 16 years old and they are doing 16-year-old things and they are moving through a story that was made to appeal to 16-year-olds, and you have content that's appropriate for 16-year-olds to be reading, and you say, but my voice is more like 12 or 13, should I just age everyone down? We now have some other problems. The arc of a 16-year-old is different than a 12-year-old. The content that's appropriate for them is different. The sentence structure, the syntax, the way that you craft the story is going to be different. Middle grade is about learning that the world is much bigger than you thought it was, and young adult is about discovering and deciding who you are going to be within that big world that you so recently discovered. And then adult is everything else. Like all of the other story arcs are adult. And so if you have written a story in which a 16-year-old is moving through the world in the way that a 16-year-old moves through the world, and it is about her deciding who she is going to be in this world, you can't just make her 12, because now we have category mismatch, we have content mismatch, we have arc mismatch, we have all sorts of other problems. And I would actually have you examine what you have asked of yourself here. If you have a story that feels like it's a 12-year-old, did you actually write a young adult novel in the first place? If it feels like it belongs in a 12-year-old's head, if it feels like it belongs in the middle grade space, examine your character arc. Examine the content of the story. Does it feel like it makes sense with this character? Does she feel like a 12-year-old kind of moving around in a high school setting? Did you write a young adult story because you thought that's what all of these novels were, that it was either like adult or young adult? And it turns out there's this whole other thing that you hadn't been considering. Maybe you really did write a middle grade novel. Middle grade voice is hard to capture, it's difficult. But it is not as simple as just aging characters up or down. And this goes for the YA to adult gap. You can't just make them 19 and it suddenly becomes an adult story. Like, if that was the case, then you had an adult story all along.